Wasn't expecting to see you two here.
We thought you could use our help, so...
I mean...
This is no time to explain. Where is Renna?
Expect to answer a lot of questions inside.
Let us go then.
Yeah, you know, we just had to walk further than the actual place we were going into. That's all. Who is this dude? Is that the Sindrian? Well, if it was, then he isn't any longer. Oh, that's the first time I think we've seen one of the vampires really change directly in front of us. Now, is this the person we're looking for?
Renna. Are you hurt? If any of them.
What is the significance of this bottle?
You know me. I'd never let them hurt me. I just waited for you to come.
I didn't know where to look. They threatened to kill you. Forgive me. I failed you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Anna Henrietta's sister.
Hate to break in on the party.
Do you know?
Mm-hmm. Ran into Roderick, Duntine's lord. Told me where I'd find Siana.
Then speak and let's grab her. Time is short.
Said she was in a room in the tower. Very one we're in right now. Which, incidentally, looks nothing like a prison cell.
Yeah.
And just so happens there's a carafe full of wine here. Bet it's stolen San Real.
Yeah.
What's your point?
Well, you see, Renawed and Siana do in fact appear to be the same person. As I suspected, there were just a few too many commonalities between the things that we knew about those two for me to let that go unnoticed. But, you lied to Detloff, used him. Well, so... The question then is, yeah, what are the implications, though, of that? Sure, if they were the same person, then we thought that Renawed was being held captive, against her will, obviously, and being threatened with, or they threatened to take her life. However, as Geralt just said, this doesn't exactly look like a prison cell where she's, being, tortured or deprived of, the luxuries of living the luxurious life that, the royal family or member of the royal family might experience. This looks nice and comfy. So, yeah, doesn't look like the whole she was being held captive thing is all that true, which would suggest that perhaps the part that's more truthful is that, yes, she was behind some of this, or at least involved in some of this, and that's why Geralt is getting at this whole, you lied to Detloff and used him. She appears to have played some part in this political agenda to get certain people assassinated, and for whatever reason thought that she could get Detloff to go out and do some of that dirty work for her. Now, is she the sole person behind all this, or is she working with someone else who's really the one calling the shots? That I'm not sure about just yet. What if we... I don't know, though. Like, this is pretty aggressive, accusing her outright of being a bad person. Whereas this is more like, alright, well, we know what happened. Up to you, though, to tell us, to try to frame this the way you see fit. I think we go this route and see how she tries to spin this story, because we've got her backed into a bit of a corner right now.
Giving you one chance to tell us everything yourself.
I've nothing to tell.
Okay, well, there's a chance.
What is this?
Sorry, Detloff. You've been had.
My friend, please. You must listen to what Geralt has to say.
before you shred us to bits, please listen to our explanation. This is true. This, I also think, is true. This, but again, I think the top one is sort of the little bit more aggressive option, outright accusing her, whereas this is sort of like a, all right, let's just start with the facts, and then you can do more to sort of draw your own conclusions from that, because I think we want to try to keep this not so heated, because we know that Detloff has a bit of a temper, and, well, when that temper breaks out, he has a bit of a habit of killing people. Granted, at least as of late, it's been largely because he's been set up thinking that he had to do so, otherwise this lady was going to get killed. But as we are now confirming here, maybe that wasn't so much the case after all.
Rena's not her real name. This is Siana, and Siana is sister to Anna Henrietta, the Duchess of Toussaint.
What? What nonsense is this?
Siana was banished as a child, but it seems she trekked back here recently, moved into Duntine, and ran a Vandergild out of here. Sent a man called the Cintrian to Beauclair to steal some wine for her, wine reserved for the ducal family. Cintrian led us to her. Caught him later stealing a jewel Siana had gotten from her father as a child.
Too many connections for it to be a coincidence.
Sorry, Detloff. She used you. Part of her plan.
Now, does he rip her to shreds? I would be very careful what you say right now.
You will come to Teshumutna and explain all. If you do not, I will raise Beauclair to the ground. This I promise you. You've 3 days. I shall be waiting.
Okay.
He'd just fly off?
He did not wish to act rashly. He's gone to soothe his nerves.
Think he'll do it? Make good on his threat?
Now is probably not the time to discuss that.
He can be unpredictable when fury consumes him.
I shall go to him.
Come again? After what he just...
You don't know Detlaff like I do. If I don't do as he says, he truly will destroy the city. He's more than capable of it.
Yeah, so suddenly now you're willing to, you know, not try to just murder people all over the place. You actually want to try to spare the citizens of the place that you were, you know, just trying to sabotage. Again, top one, I think, is kind of like a taking jabs at her, sort of discrediting her character. But, think we still try to be neutral here to the extent that we can, and then again, once all the facts are put out on the table, then that's when we start making our stand, one way or the other. Okay, so yeah, I think we go didn't expect this.
Seems you've got some last scraps of honor left.
It's the least.
Where previously it seemed like you had none.
Well, it truly does seem the best option.
Your Grace, we must proceed with caution. Guardsmen saw vampires here. They could still be about.
Vampires or no vampires, my sister is here. Find her.
Yeah, about that.
Your Grace, that...
Why, hello.
Siana, it's true. It's you. Sister dear, what have you gotten yourself into? So
Yeah,
concerned
about
and
that.
surprised. Is there an ounce of truth to it?
You feel resentment. I understand. But I promise we shall work through all the unfortunate matters of the past. We will discuss them later. Captain, escort Siana to the palace. I shall meet with her as soon as we return.
As you wish, Your Grace.
Yeah, we still have not really done any chatting with
And
Siana.
you, Witcher. You have my thanks. I cannot believe my sister was so near the whole time.
Yeah, it is a little
Roderick
strange,
of Duntine shall answer for treason and blackmail.
as he should. Or that's kind of why I left him there. He said he had no knowledge of the blackmail. This is true. It seemed a little too blatantly obvious for him not to know. So, you know, do we take what he said at face value and say, well, he claims that he didn't know anything about it, so maybe he's actually kind of innocent. You should be a little bit more merciful and spare him after all. But on the other hand, you could say, you know, he should have known. He was pretty silly if he didn't realize that, you know, housing these mercenaries was not going to lead to some form of additional violence and, you know, like, what do you just randomly house mercenaries at your castle without any explanation? You don't ask any questions of that? Obviously, mercenaries fight. That's what they do. They're hired to fight. So, you don't ask who they're planning to fight or who their client is. You know, that just seems like that's a little bit too much of a... it's a little too forgiving, perhaps. But, I don't know. I mean, at the same time, we, like, barely talked to him. So, it's largely, I think, just a matter of how forgiving are you feeling. And, I don't really forgive him for more or less being complicit in allowing this to happen. But at the same time, so I think there's some responsibility there. He's basically negligent, for not having realized that something was happening. Is it treason? Or is it something a little less than that? I'd perhaps say something a little less than that. So, you know, if there were something that a little less extreme than him, you know, getting executed or tortured or what have you, then, you know, maybe just put him in prison for a significant amount of time, and leave it at that, and don't, like, gruesomely murder him. But that's not really an option. So for that reason, I guess we say this.
Roderick got duped and used, just like the vampire.
That is true.
Apropos, were you able to establish who kidnapped his beloved?
We've discovered Siana blackmailed the vampire, ordered him to kill those men.
Yeah.
What nonsense is this?
Yeah.
She is his missing lover, staged her own abduction to force him to do her bidding.
He was a tool. Whole scheme was Siana's. She was behind it.
You're mistaken. You must be. This cannot be true.
Yeah, but see, the thing
Your
is, like,
Grace.
it is.
I know this vampire, and
What? You know him? Who is he?
Well,
Detlaff.
The same who so recently sat at my table and told me of Nazaire.
yeah. Same guy.
Is there anything else you've neglected to mention?
He's a vampire too,
dragon
in case you
living
didn't
beneath
know.
Mount Gorgon, perhaps? Is
Probably.
anyone else here a vampire?
No comment?
Where is he now?
Waiting for Siana. If she doesn't show up to meet him by an appointed time, he'll destroy Beauclair.
Yeah.
He dares threaten us?
Your Grace, we have 3 days to bring him Siana, and
Not a word.
Yeah, she's not very happy.
Have 3 days to bring me his head. No more secrets. No more helping vampires. I want what I'm paying for. The head of the beast.
Oh boy, that's heating up.
do you think Her Grace's nerves have been calmed?
Doubt it. Rarely
No,
forgets,
definitely
rarely
not.
retracts what she says, especially not threats.
Yes, well, even I must admit Detlav's actions were highly inappropriate. Reprehensible, even.
Okay, but that doesn't change that we still need to do something.
Are you upset?
Why would I be?
Let's see. You're returning from your hunt empty-handed. No trophy. No new lead to boast of, then pursue.
We know where we're going next, or we at least it's not like we're lost here. We very much have something that we're looking to do. It's just a matter of how we go about doing it. Also, there is the whole A Witcher we have the mutations thing. I just think that his point is not very accurate. Detloff has made this threat to take out the entire city, and we have, he's made his proposal, if you will. We need to bring him Siana, and so, we absolutely have something that we're looking to do here. It's just a matter of what course of action do we take to, well, prevent him from destroying the entire city, and probably also trying to not have Siana get brutally murdered. So there's definitely still some direction here. Sure, we may not have gotten everything done yet, but that happens. So I guess it could happen to anyone.
What can I say? It happens at times. Especially likely to when the monster I'm chasing can turn into fog.
How do your employers customarily react when you fail to meet their expectations?
We haven't really
Depends.
failed yet.
Peasants cuss me out. Merchants
We're just
demand
not
I
done yet.
refund their deposit, whereas nobles mostly just release their hounds.
And rulers?
Usually threaten me with the gallows.
A most
And imprison
illustrious
us.
grace awaits the gentleman.
Your Grace, the population demands she be punished. Siana's committed terrible crimes. Spilt so much blood. They...
Another word, Palmerin, and I shall spill even more blood. Yours.
All right, calm down, Duchess.
I repeat for the
That's
last
a little
time.
too far.
Siana is responsible for the death of many, true. But she is also my sister. We are bound by blood.
That
and
may
by
be, but
shared
it doesn't excuse her for
childhood.
murdering
I shall
people.
not allow her to be lynched.
Your Grace, I fear the masses might rise. Storm the prison, pitchforks and torches in hand.
Let them storm. They will not find her there. Siana is hidden away in a safe place. She shall await trial there until we have rid ourselves of this accursed vampire. Which, to judge by your means, has not yet come to pass.
Did what we could, but
My patience is at an end, Geralt. Where is he? Where is Detlef?
So, you see, there's this thing that vampires can do, where they kind of just disappear into smoke and then, poof, they're gone. Just disappear. Completely disappear. So, he did that.
we're working to find that out, Your Grace.
Do you take me for a fool?
I wouldn't dare.
I care not one whit what you have worked on, are working on, or shall work on. I'm interested in results, which thus far have been nil. At times, I hunt foxes. Do you know how it works? The ducal huntsman releases the hounds. They catch the fox's scent, chase the animal down, and lead the battue to it. All within an hour. You, Witcher, have had a week. The
a lot
aid
more than
of
that,
my
actually.
most excellent
But
knights.
maybe we don't
Yet
mention that.
You have tracked absolutely nothing down. I've begun
That's
to
not
suspect
true.
My beagles might have done a better job.
We established who the killer was, which you didn't notice, even when you ate dinner with him. So, we did better than you. Thank you very much. Maybe you should summon your beagles then. Yeah, sure, bring out the dogs. So, that being said, she's pretty mad. Pretty darn mad. So we do want to be careful how we respond here, because she's very important. She is our employer. She is also at least politically speaking, the most powerful person here in Tucson. Let's see. So we can find him sooner or later. That's the straightforward answer. This is the sassy answer, which I don't think is what she's looking for here. That'll probably just make her more angry at us. Vampires and Fox's game in general exhibit certain essential differences. That's just being, like, trying to get all, maybe not sassy, but being wise. Slight difference. And saying, like, well, technically, you see, vampires and foxes are in a different genus, so therefore, the same rules do not apply from one species to the other, and therefore, your point is invalid. A few days later? Oh, that's true. That's true. It did say a few days later before this whole stuff started. So, that's true. In these past few days, I mean, we didn't have anything we could do as the player, so, like... Okay, sure. Just, entered the cutscene, and apparently it was a few days later, but, I think we just go with the straightforward one here. She's not gonna like it, but she's not going to like anything we say here.
I should hope so, Witcher. For the sake of all Beauclair and yours. But to the matter at hand. Have you managed to establish anything?
Your Grace, it seems Siana tricked Detlef, used him to murder the knights who escorted her into exile. We have reason to believe that...
Who is this?
Your Grace! Vampires!
Uh-oh.
What? Speak now!
Vampires! They've attacked the city! Captain de la Tour defends the square near the boat landing, but so many lives lost!
Looks like we're running out of time here. Yeah, those are a lot of bats. By the looks of things. A lot of bats.
If it's war this Detlef wants, it's war he shall have. Geralt, get to work. This time
I mean, we saw him. He kind of, like, absolutely shred everyone who wants to fight. Oh. Speaking of vampires. Not gonna lie, for a second I thought that was Damien. That's someone we know, isn't it? Okay. Who do we have here? Random. Oh, it is technically a boss Bruxa, if you will. So I know we recently leveled up once, possibly twice. I don't think we can spend these points now though, because we're certainly still in combat. We should probably prepare for a difficult vampire fight here. The Bruxa and Alps, they can be very tough. So let's definitely put on the vampire oil. Ooh, we need to repair big time on Erendite. Let's do that. 40%. Where are you? This one? Then let's also check our armor here. It's on the verge of reducing the effectiveness on the chest plate, I think. Oh, that boots actually are a little bit. Yeah. What if we throw... We could over repair. It's not a huge deal, though we have so many of these 15% to spare. Let's do that. Maybe even just do that on everything. So yeah, more about the topic at hand. So Detlef certainly did follow up on his threat. And out of curiosity, can we see anything here other than just like the stuff in front of us? Kill the vampire. It was painfully clear the audience with the Duchess would not be a pleasant one, for Geralt and Regis had failed to establish Detlef's whereabouts, though not for lack of trying. I mean, he told us he was going to Teshamutna, or at least that's where he wanted Siana to meet him. Matters, alas, quickly took an even more tragic turn. When Geralt failed to deliver Siana to the lover betrayed, he fulfilled his threat and sent down upon Beauclair and its environs a plague of horrid beasts. Witcher immediately resumed his efforts to find and confront Detlef. We're gonna need to save as soon as we can here. So I'm guessing that means like right after this fight. Because yeah, it does look like more and more the game is starting to pit us against, or divide us, or, yeah, pit us against either the Duchess or Detloff. They're sort of both in two separate groups. The Duchess is much more inclined to support her sister, even though her sister has organized the assassinations, and the vampire, in some ways, Detloff, was not really the one behind all that, and is perhaps more innocent than the Duchess's sister is. So it's a little ironic that the Duchess is more forgiving of her sister than she is the vampire. But then again, you know, that's kind of what happens whenever you're talking about family, and especially family that you haven't seen in who knows how years, at least. Then emotions get the better of you, and logic flies out the window. And so, yeah, it looks like we are basically going to have to pick between Detloff or the Duchess very soon. Okay. And, well, you are now directly in front of us. Okay, I am curious to see if the guards actually will try to fight it as well. Okay, if you could, like... Whoa! I've never seen it do that before. It is right on top of us. It is going to kill us if we let it attack us. I can see it a little bit. But will it actually manage to kill the guards? Will the guards actually manage to damage it? I thought I'd put a Yurden down. Apparently it's not. Yeah, I see you. You're right there. Okay, but your damage is still humongous. Like, humongous. Yep, I can see you, sort of, a little bit. You're obviously right there. Yeah, guard's definitely dying here. That guard just got split in half. Yeah, that's the first time we actually got the chance to hit her, which is a good sign, I think. Oh, we should also activate, like, Black Blood. For sure. We got a bleed on her, which is definitely good. But Black Blood can give us some more consistent damage, even when we don't have the opportunity to attack her directly. Oh, we have Black Blood on us. We just need to actually activate it. Let's do that. Okay, Black Blood is on. I have a feeling that we are going to run out of guard friends very, very soon. Oh, look at that. They are actually hitting her. I didn't see, though, how much that actually changed her life bar. Is that making any difference at all? Like, she's very keen on fighting those guys. What's up? I would like more Urdens, please. And I'd like for you to not, you know, scream at us at the top of your lungs. Like, you, like, yep, show up right here, please. Bleed, question mark, / Black Blood. Black Blood? Did it. All right. Can we save? We cannot save yet. Going straight to a cutscene.
Siana failed to appear as summoned. And there. Detloff was not making...
Yeah, I was kind of thinking we'd take more direct involvement in Siana's decision whether or not to show.
Far, damn it. Regis, you mentioned there was a way to draw Detloff out. A way you've avoided resorting to so far because you thought it was too dangerous.
Is that how I put it? Do forgive me, and I've misled you terribly. The word dangerous is simply a scandalous understatement in this case.
Regis, another inner monologue growing out of a personal dilemma. Just tell me how to flush Detloff out. Force him to meet, please.
In due course. But first, Geralt, I'd like you to consider the alternative. After all, you could fulfill Detloff's demand and liberate his beloved Siana.
So, if we do free Siana, supposedly what happens, or what I imagine happens, would be we send Siana to him, he just absolutely annihilates her, wipes her out from this plane of existence in the most brutal way you can possibly imagine. But then, Detloff is kinda done. He's done his thing, and he's settled his his problem. He's no longer mad at the entire Duchy of Toussaint. And maybe, you know, the whole vampire war thing stops. That would be kind of nice. Alternatively, we, we fight through wave after wave of vampires, kill Detloff, and then the evil sister, who was the one who originally organized all these murders in the first place, gets to live. Siana, see, here's the thing. We got very little time to hang out and talk with Siana, and for that reason, very little time to understand Siana's perspective. Now, like, we've heard a little bit from, indirectly from the Duchess about how, you know, she was supposedly this cursed child because she was born during an eclipse, and so for that reason, you know, her family abandoned her and assumed she was always going to be no good, and so, you know, she presumably is not a very, or she still houses some ill will for that reason. But, is that reason for her to be justified to murder a bunch of people? Siana does want... That is true. Siana did say she wanted to meet Detloff as well. So it seems like it's maybe more so... Not so much a matter of taking Detloff's side versus taking Siana's side, as much as it's taking Detloff and Siana's side collectively versus the Duchess's side. It's really the Duchess versus Detloff plus Siana. The problem is, the Duchess is being very irrational right now. She is ignoring or deliberate, consciously or subconsciously excusing her sister's crimes. I mean, I suppose she is planning on putting her on trial. This is true, but you know, kind of need to do something to address this vampire situation. And not just be like, well, I'm going to completely ignore this vampire's threats. And, oh, he said he's going to destroy the entire city that I rule. Oh, well. Oh, look, he's actually following through on his threat. Oh, well. Guess I'll just sit on my hands here and do nothing about it. Hey, Witcher, go solve this. You hired us to help you fight a single bandit, not to, take on an entire army of vampire, or not bandit, a single killer, not to take on an entire army of vampires. So if we, okay, there is potentially still an opportunity to save here, though. So let's get a little more information, though. Think Detloff still believes Siana's innocent.
Think Detloff still believes Siana's innocent?
I believe he suspects something. He must. And he seeks to understand what happened.
And for that, he's
I mean, I do too.
war on the entire duchy?
What can I say? Moderation was never his strong suit.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to actually have a conversation with Siana at some point to get some understanding directly from her as to what and why this all went down. Because at the moment, we're basing all of this off of secondhand information.
Really want to free Siana? Hand her over to Detloff? Refuse to accept you consider that wise.
It's hard to believe, I know. But Detloff is not actually evil, merely impulsive. He needs but meet with her, speak with her, and he will spare the city.
So say I agree to this, because I might. Still no chance Anna Henrietta will.
Right.
I do not recall ever suggesting we ask her permission.
Okay, so either Siana can't be harmed, you guarantee her safety. So that was one of the things I was thinking, was that suppose they do both want to just chat, but as we are seeing right now, Detloff can get a little carried away with things, and what might start off as just a conversation could very quickly escalate to who even knows what. Then the question is whether we know where Siana is being held because the Duchess said she's not being held in the usual prison. She's somewhere well hidden so that the citizens can't just storm the place and break her out. I mean, both those things are relevant. I think maybe we lead with this, though.
The meeting. What if it's nothing like you say? What if it goes sour, ends in a fight? Willing to guarantee Siana won't get hurt?
It seems unlikely in the extreme that...
Didn't ask for a lecture on probability. Need a simple answer. Yes or no.
And probability
I
is
vow that
important.
not a hair on her head shall come to any harm.
Okay. As for where she is being held, though.
Got serious reservations about this plan. Not least among them, we have no idea where Siana's being held. You heard the Duchess. She's not at the prison.
Hardly a reservation. More of an excuse. I'm certain you'll find her. You must merely decide you wish to.
Could ask Damien. Duchess treats him like a lapdog. Keeps him close most times. He might know something more.
There, you see? I knew you'd think of something. Bravo. I trust I've dispelled your doubts, then.
Not so fast. We're not done talking.
Say I don't want to negotiate. How do I get Detloff to reveal himself? This would be like if we don't go the other route. If we don't try to bring Siana, and instead we opt to side with the Duchess, then how do we get Detloff to appear? Perhaps what this is saying?
How would I go about luring Detloff out of hiding if I wanted to? With the blood of a virgin?
You see, somewhere nearby lives an unusual denizen, one of the unseen, ancient and powerful vampires, among the oldest and strongest.
This is the thing that
And?
Two sides
Regis was saying he didn't want to tell us about.
Elder's territory. All vampires owe him fealty while they are here. He need but say the word, designate a time and place, and Detlaff will be forced to appear.
So this unseen elder, how do we convince him to summon Detloff?
We must find him first. The elder does not see arrivals unless he absolutely must. But locals, Oriana, for instance, you know, she too is a...
Yeah.
Figured it out. All right, let's
Figured
say
it
she
out.
gets me in to see the unseen elder. What then?
I don't know. You'll have to improvise, I suppose.
Okay, that does sound interesting, but I think that is, so the Siana plus Detloff meeting version is, of course, siding with those two and not the Duchess, whereas I would think the one we were just talking about with the Unseen Elder would be more so siding with the Duchess and basically just forcing Detloff to appear so that we can actually fight him. But what's next?
So I'm basically stuck. Either gotta give in to a blackmailer or fight him.
You know what I would opt for. Should we free Siana and arrange for her to meet with Detlaff, there's a good chance we'll all survive this ordeal. Detlaff included.
Regis, don't mean to put you on the spot, but I gotta know. Say I do decide to fight Detloff. Who'll you stand with?
Should you decide your sword is the
Tough
sole
question.
solution, I shall not stand in your way.
Appreciate it.
Certainly hope so. Now, please tell me, what is it you intend to do?
Okay, so this is where we say we don't know. We need to think about it, and that'll give us at least a moment to save, so that, well, we can take a moment to think about it. And then that way, if we want to, what we can do is we can basically go through, and I think what we would do is we'd go with whatever we think is our preferred option. We do that first, and that is sort of our quote-unquote canon ending, if you will. And then, because I've heard that supposedly, and based on what we just heard, both options are quite interesting, and we would perhaps very much want to experience even the one that we don't initially choose, then we can deliberately, once we're done with the first option, load up from the save spot and then see what we missed, because it does seem like both options will be very cool, and it'll be fun to get the chance to see what they both entail. Even if the second one is not necessarily, you know, our quote-unquote, again, canon option, our canon decision. Okay, there's actually more endings than that, but those are the two primary diverging paths. That sounds good, but let's not discuss any further. For risk of major spoiler territory, let's leave it at that, for now at least.
No idea. Need to think.
Not an easy choice. Understood. Permit me to leave you to wrestle with this dilemma. I'm needed in the city. I cannot stop what is happening, but I can try to limit the number of victims. Once you've decided and learned something, perhaps, whisper a word to the ravens. I shall find you.
Yeah, you know, just take all the time you need to think about it, Geralt. Also, by the way, everyone is dying while you do that. Here we got the Unseen Elder, the Knight of the Long Fangs. Let's read up a little bit here. Well, I suppose. Yeah, we'll read up, then we'll save. So we've got Draconid? Is this an old one? Or did we actually just learn about new Draconid? Is this from the Slizzard Matriarch, maybe? I think so. Must have been that. Oh, no. The, we had one that the different colored, Basilisk, or what had, the Silver Basilisk, that's what it was. But, that's not so relevant right now. I mean, Elementa, I also don't know what would be new here, at least not at first glance. This, I forget. But, more importantly, I imagine it's under Vampire. No? Oh, it's not Bestiary, it's character entry, right? The Unseen Elder here. Geralt was intrigued as I was, and as I imagine you shall be. Learn higher vampire society is organized in a strict hierarchy based on age. The older a vampire, the greater his say in matters, and the stricter the punishment for going against his will. One extremely elder vampire lived in Beauclair, in the cave where he had been deposited during the conjunction of the spheres. Geralt and Regis decided they had to go see him to get his help in finding Detloff. The only problem was that the more ancient members of the vampire race were not very, how to put this, amenable to company. This particular elder so deeply disliked visitors, Regis trembled at the very thought of having to disturb his peace. Geralt had a difficult decision to make. Should he risk a visit to the elder's domain, or try to find Siana? And then, can we also read up on Siana? Because I have to imagine things have changed with her as of late as well, possibly even Detloff. I didn't catch if there was a star there. Upon learning the woman he loved was using him for her own ends, Detloff lost all will to keep on living. The only thing left to him was a longing for vengeance. Blind, unrestrained vengeance. Detloff issued a clear ultimatum. Siana was to meet him alone and explain everything. Oh, alone. I did not remember that part. So, means that Detloff might not be terribly pleased if we show up. If she failed to do that, Beauclair would be awash with blood. No one had any doubts Detloff meant exactly what he said. Well, maybe some people did, but now they certainly don't. Let's see. So, other than that, do we have new information on Regis after all this? Geralt went to Duntine alone, leaving Regis behind to watch Detloff, or such was the plan, but life has a habit of making a mockery of men's plans. The vampires kept tabs on Geralt's progress through the use of avian allies, and thus were the instant he found himself in dire straits? They reacted at once. Soon, Duntine was drenched in blood. Okay. Now we're looking for Siana. I think might be the only person, other than maybe in the Duchess. I don't know if she's under D for Duchess or A for Anna. We did also hear about Oriana. We did just get confirmation of what I always suspected. Yeah, did give him the impression she was no normal aristocrat, and his impressions were usually spot on. I think we read this before, but we have now confirmed that she is in fact, a vampire. Okay, so Siana. What is new here? So, Anna Henrietta, full of sisterly love and compassion, spent years mourning the absence of Siana, who had officially been declared missing and presumed dead. When she surfaced again, however, their reunion was not one of familial joy. Siana despised Anna Henrietta and did not wish to even speak to her. And that's partially the reason why it feels particularly strange to me that the Duchess is so defensive of her. This is like, I would understand one thing, if there was more mutual feeling of, of love, but there wasn't. Siana hates Anna, so why is Anna continuing to show such compassion? It just seems a little strange. I mean, sure, she really misses her, but combine the disdain for Anna, Siana's disdain for Anna, plus the part where she killed a bunch of people, and I think you get over that whole sisterly love thing pretty quickly. This reluctance may have had something to do with the fact that moments earlier, Siana had been unmasked as a murderer. Yeah. Okay, is that everything we have here? I think it is. Unless we go back up to the Duchess, wherever she may be. Is she? Oh, she is here, okay. So if Geralt thought the tales of her illustrious Grace's implacable wrath were exaggerated, he quickly was shown how greatly he was mistaken. Yeah, up until now, she's been very hands-on, very much sort of a go-getter. Whenever there's a problem, she accompanies us to get it sorted out. But for the most part, she's been a solid teammate, helping us out, and has not, has not objected to many, if any, of the things that we've done along the way. In many cases, have supported us even when we proposed doing crazy things. But only now has she suddenly very much drawn a line in the sand and said, "All right, Geralt, it's my way or the highway." So let's see. As soon as Anna Henrietta learned the vampire had not only escaped, but had also threatened the life of her sister, she flew into a rage that precluded all discussion. He presented matters very clearly. Geralt was to complete his contract and bring her Detlof's head on a silver platter. Okay. Then I think might even finally spend the skill points, which we now have 2 of, actually. So I think we get our last point of refreshment here. That's an easy option. Then our next one is a little bit tougher, because we either probably need to replace something that we have in, or we upgrade something that's a very low level. Like Undying, I think we actually want to keep at 1, but like strength training, I admittedly have not, at least recently, have not made as much of an effort to alternate between the strong and fast attacks like we are supposed to do with the cat school armor. So I'm a little reluctant to invest more heavily in that, but then again, would we replace something here? Other things that we're considering were protective coating, adding a little bit of protection against the monster type that we have our oil active on, which, I mean, at level 1, 5% is not a huge deal, but if you level this up a few times, then that could become a pretty big factor. Granted, it's getting pretty late on in the game, of course, so not sure we can really rely on getting many more levels than what we currently have. Perhaps 1 or 2, but, shouldn't be planning on having this fully upgraded for a large portion of time. That may not happen at all. But that's an option. I think the other might have been tissue transformation. Mutagen decoction increases maximum vitality by 200 for the duration. How much is 200 relative to our total life right now? That's, what? It's not a very big chunk. That feels somewhat insignificant. It's what, like 1/30th? So like 3%, basically, ish. And I mean, again, a case of if you level it up, it will go higher, of course. Presumably it goes up 5% each, or not 5%, that's this one. Presumably this goes up 200 each time, so by the time you're done, it's 1,000. At that point, it's about 1/6 of our total HP that we're gaining for the duration of the decoctions. Actually, tell you what, these are quite similar. If it is just a comparison between these two, they are both defensive buffs, except this one is worth, like we were just saying, roughly 1/30th or about 3-ish% per upgrade, whereas this is 5, actually, based on the way that the damage is calculated in this game, potentially considerably more than 5% per level. Because, as we've said previously, you know, if, like, for example, you know, we have, let's say, 100 defense, and our opponent has 105 attack. They attack us, we take 5 damage. If we increase our defense by 5%, suddenly we're at 105 armor, and we aren't taking damage. So in that case, it's a 100% increase, which is pretty good. So I think if we are debating between these two, then this is probably the answer, at least assuming that we can make a point of putting on the oil, which should be a fairly easy thing to do unless we happen to be fighting numerous enemies of different types simultaneously, but I think probably going to be mostly vampires at this stage. So yeah, I think it's either it's that and probably replace. What is this? Is this strong attack? No, that's fast attack. It's also fast attack. That's definitely staying. Definitely keeping whirl. Rend, I admittedly have. I'm not sure I've used it once. So, like, technically speaking, this is providing the least value because I'm not sure I've ever deliberately used this ability. Which is not to say it's not good. It's just that if, quite literally, I never use it, then it is doing nothing for us, other than giving us the tiny adrenaline point gain. But, does kinda mean this? I mean, either I have to make a conscious effort to do this, or it's better served that we put on this. Yeah, it seems like it is really strong, because it is basically the strong attack alternative to whirl. But like I said, at least strong attacks in general, I just, like, barely ever use. I only ever use them when I'm very consciously thinking, oh, I should make a point of squeezing in a strong attack here. It doesn't, like, come naturally to me, because I've just so regularly done the fast attacks and fast attacks exclusively. But, sure, I think we keep that then, and, maybe we get rid of the strength training instead. It ignored shields. Okay. That's kind of nifty. And we have been using Axie a lot more as of late, and that's also a good way to work around shields, but that could work. That could work. I think... Oh no, that's the opposite of what I wanted to do. And that's not what I wanted to do either. Let's dump you. And let's get you. And short term, it's not going to be great. But if we do have the chance to get one, certainly 2 more levels to upgrade it, I think it will become a much bigger deal, and we should probably put it down here there with the other greens, right? And then just move Gourmet up to the top one. Put you there, I think. And then put you here. Yeah, and comparatively speaking, that alone gave us as much vitality as the, or very close to as much vitality as that other upgrade was going to give us, right? Because,
Oh.
Don't push me, bro. I didn't see exactly how much it went up by, but it's probably on the order of 200. Okay, so, let's, guess we'll do this stuff. And then we'll save And at that point, we will need to decide which course of action we feel we want to take. Do we support the Duchess, or do we support Detloff? Duchess versus Detloff. That is the question.